I'm Chris Burgess from CBiS Education, and we'd just like to give you a bit of a taster as to what we're doing as a fledgling business, just starting on the road to exporting and selling to other countries or whatever. So, CBiS Education, Innovation, Engineering and Computing. Bit of background. In schools, people are falling asleep. You might already know this, but in the UK, ICT was a very boring subject, lacking engagement, teaching PowerPoint, Word, etc. And the Raspberry Pi, does anybody here know what Raspberry Pi is? You know what Raspberry Pi? Someone? Man at the back, brilliant. Raspberry Pi, a little computer that in the UK is a Cambridge innovation, and a lot of people are buying that and trying to use it in schools to get computing going. And there was a political shift in about the middle of 2013 towards getting computing into schools and on the curriculum, supported by government. So we were, since 2004, developing systems for government, software corporates, whatever, doing a bit of military robotics, IED and sniper detection platforms, things like that. Cool stuff, fun things that I like to work on. And a vice principal of the South Leeds Academy in Yorkshire said, look, I've got a group of year 8 and year 9s. They're tough kids to engage with. They'd rather fight each other than learn. Can you help here? We've seen the military robotics. Can you bring one in? I said, no, of course I can't. This is a military tool. It finds IEDs, it's threat detection. I know there's a threat, but if I brought that in, I'd get in trouble. I said, what I can do, because I like the idea of this, we'll build you some robots that the children can play with. So, as you see on the back of John, is one of the soldiers been in Afghanistan. He's got a pack, that's the IED platform. It's in effect a buggy with some cool stuff on top. So we built a little car and we took it into school, and loads of students, and yeah, they were very scrappy. When they started to use the toys, the robots, they engaged. They stopped fighting and they started looking at what was going on, and they were driven to make the car move. We thought, this is brilliant. The teacher said, this is great, I've never seen this. They're not hitting each other at all, this is brilliant. So, a couple of hours of them completely engaged. We said, this is something we need to try and push, need to do. So, we turned the kits into a product, open and get on with it kits. And you can see there the right-hand side is a remote control car based on the military one, and also a robot arm kit. We were asking teachers, if I said robot to a student of primary or secondary, what would they understand as a robot? And it's the robot arm, it does make sense. So we came up with these 2 kits, and we originally designed them for the children. Again, we're thinking, engage with kids, this is great, this is brilliant. And then we realised that at the time, 85-90% of teachers have no idea how to do programming or engineering or robotics. So, and if you give it to the students, they do engage. If you give them the opportunity of cool technology, they'll engage with it and they'll start to use it. So we adjusted the equipment and we provided a teacher portal. And the portal was, a way of trying to help the teachers understand how to use this. We often at 9:30 at night would be get an email through. It'd be a teacher. They've got a glass of wine. They're on the laptop. They're trying to figure out how they can do this the next day in the class. And it's really helped us to reinforce that we know what we're talking about and give demonstration, for them online and help them to get into the classroom. We then started going around the country providing free of charge workshops and CPD training for teachers. So again, reinforcing and validating. And we did this as a strategy to try and understand more, is our product good? Is this something that can really work? It wasn't so much, going around trying to help. We wanted to, but we thought this is good, we'll get something back. And it's gone really well. So, different schools, we've got some mind control technology because we think that's inspiring, so we can get the children to move robots just using the power of their mind. That's very good. Feel free to have a go later. And sit there with teachers that are normally quite apprehensive about this stuff. And it's been going really well since January 2014, the BET show in London last year. We've been selling kits all over the UK, but what we also did is we started selling kits internationally. So Belgium, I think, was the first one, British School of Brussels, Finland, South Africa. I don't know where that came from. South Africa, of all places, Dubai, it started popping up. And so this is where we got to. And I'll pass over to Chris Zanetto, our international guy and growth coach, to talk about sort of where we're going now, UKTI, etc.
Thanks, Chris. So, as Chris has just shared with you, we have a product that engages both children and is easy for teachers to use. And on the map just now, you saw that we've actually been getting a lot of interest from a number of overseas markets. If I said to you, where is our current status in overseas development, I'd have to be honest and say it's very opportunistic. You know, we haven't got a big strategy there. People come on our stand at BET or here at the education show, as we've had today, a lot of interest from the Middle East. And we get phone calls and we follow up those phone calls, and quite often those are converted into orders. So it's really very opportunistic. We did, largely due to the strength of UKTI, one of their representatives in Serbia had come to the BET show last year. Is that yourself? No, sorry. And took a real interest in this product. And we went down to a UKTI-sponsored event at Westminster Hall last year, Serbia Day, and we took part in that. But when we actually looked at the information and talked to people, we found out that our product would be very appropriate for a very small niche of schools. And we worked out the numbers, the size of the prize, to use jargon, was actually quite limited. So it's great that Serbia showed an interest, but we probably won't be diverting time and resource to exploiting that market. So what is our motivation to export? Well, obviously we're a young company. We've only been going really under a year now. We're in about 72 UK schools, and the aim is now to build critical mass, obviously. And we're finding that if a school in one area is interested and takes the kits, then other schools in the area will do the same. So our motivation to export is really to build critical mass for the business, not only in the UK, but also overseas. If you diversify, I used to work in a number of industries, international businesses, and obviously the lesson from diversification internationally is you spread the risk. So if your home market is struggling, then you're going to have a far better opportunity in other markets to balance that risk. So diversification spreads the risk, and also it helps you to become more professional. My experience is that businesses that trade internationally, and there's surveys on this as well, are more innovative, they're more productive and more efficient, and that will help CBiS also in the UK. So where do we need help at the moment? Well, I said earlier, we're very much ad hoc, we're opportunistic, and one of the key things is choosing the appropriate markets. We know in Brazil, for instance, they want to have up to 10% of their GDP being spent on education. We know in Saudi they've got a very young population who, again, they're spending a lot of money in developing knowledge of their children in technology. So we need really help in selecting the right markets and helping us focus on the markets where the greatest opportunity is and the greatest cost benefit is. Research, quite often, we do desk research. I've done myself online. I've used various studies, but actually UKTI can help us also with research. They have people on the ground in the embassies, and they have an awful lot of information on who could be the right networks for us in these countries. So market entry scenarios, again, you saw we get a phone call or we get an email. Can you send it to Dubai or can you send a kit there? How do we actually, on the ground, have representation? Is it best through distributors, through agents? Is it best building joint ventures or partnerships? So again, these are areas, again, that we're going to be exploring with hopefully UKTI support. Because marketing and selling being another challenge for us, is it something that, for marketing selling, to do trade shows, to have somebody on the ground? Is email campaigns, social media campaigns, again, what works in certain markets is, again, where we need help. Customer service, is it, again, good to have somebody on the ground, a representative, or work with local distributors? So all these are areas where we're looking for help. And probably very important, as small businesses and medium-sized businesses know, is making sure we get payment. So what facilities are available for us to help ensure that the risk is minimized in exporting? So you can see this section I've shared with you. We're a young company. We're exporting already, but in an ad hoc way. We're looking to get critical mass and spread our risk. We're looking to satisfy customers and schools in those customers around the world. but really focusing our efforts with some help from UKTI.